What's going on? Welcome in to week 14, a very fun slate, because of a lot of the news that has dropped not only today, but throughout the rest of the week. We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. We're having a lovely time today. How's it going? 9:30 Central Time. The slate's starting off. What's going on? How you doing? Let's get it popping. See everybody up in the chat. We got Brandon. We got Anthony. We got people up in the chat. JJ earlier asking, what is he saying to start this off with a long question we got to read? JJ says, where are we getting the idea that 6'2", 210-pound Joshua Palmer is going to get the Keenan Allen work, especially in the slot? Why would quicker, faster Guyton not get that work who actually plays in the slot? Well, the quicker, faster Guyton should be on the outside, and Guyton doesn't play in the slot. Guyton's only played 20% of his snaps in the slot, and Guyton himself is actually bigger. So if you're talking about like size being an issue, Guyton's 6'2", 215 pounds. So Palmer actually, out of these three wide receivers, is the most prototypical Keenan Allen replacement. And he plays majority of his snaps this year, 45% or so out of the slot compared to the left and right outside. So yeah, I mean, that would be why. But yes. Happy birthday to the girlfriend, some people are saying. I appreciate that. What's up, Big Pim? What's going on, Patrick? What's going on, Patrick Moore? How you doing? Keelan Cole Sr. is the play today, somebody says. Oh, boy. Keelan Cole Sr. is the play today. We're getting them Jets wide receivers is where we're trying to find our leverage, right? Okay. We got everybody up in the chat. Should be a wild day as I have 78 lineups going, says Michael Joseph. We love to hear it. Yeah, this is an interesting spot. Tyreek Hill's matchup is bad today against Vegas. Okay. I'm not too sure about that one by any means. Not too sure about that one. Taysom Hill or Cam Newton? I'll go Taysom Hill. This is an interesting slate. Yeah. The question on Taysom Hill today versus everybody else is you have to play the slate as if it's not the same slate depending on the contest you're playing in. If you're trying to attack this slate as being the same every single time, like if you're playing the Millie Maker and you can't put the same lineup into every single contest. You're going to lose today. You have to attack this slate for single entries is where Taysom Hill gets and Cam Newton get elevated, smaller field stuff. The correlation and the bigger stuff is where you start to go to Dak or Mahomes for leverage. Herbert's going to be insanely owned today. The Tampa and Buffalo game will have its ownership, and probably fairly so. It's not like something to jump off of, but somebody who likes to take advantage of leverage, I probably won't be playing Tampa or Buffalo in my single entry stacks today. But what's going on, people? What's going on? There's a lot of amazing plays today. I mean, left and right. I put on Twitter some of the top leverage plays today. I mean, some of the top leverage plays that you're looking at right now look fantastic. I mean, good players. DK Metcalf, Chuba Hubbard to a lesser extent is good, but he's not going to be on that range. Zeke is now going to be a leverage play with Tollard not expecting and trending not to play. He'll be leverage off of that price range right there of this top receivers in Godwin and Fournette from Tampa. I mean, there's just so many good leverage plays today. Tyreek himself is going to be like 10 to 12% owned because he's so damn expensive. But the one-off of Tyreek Hill of $8,500 versus Vegas, I mean, Tyreek Hill has the highest ceiling on the slate. He's the highest projected wide receiver. He's the second highest projected player on the slate. That looks damn good. McKissick, likely out with a concussion, is now going, or already ruled out with a concussion, is now going to lead even more to strong plays of Antonio Gibson. Like, Antonio Gibson is the best play on the slate this week. That was not always the case until this McKissick news came out. It's hard not to like Antonio Gibson. I would consider Antonio Gibson the best play on the slate this week. He'll probably be 25% owned or so. You can build around him if you want to. What do you think is the best single entry QB in stack? I think that the best, if you're looking for, I would say there's a lot of different ways to break this down depending on the type of player you are. I think that between Taysom Hill and Dak Prescott is where I'm leaning for single entry today because Taysom Hill I'll run naked if I want to go that route. Probably in smaller field single entry stuff. And Dak Prescott because I think you get correlation for similar upside. You get correlation or you get leverage for similar upside, right? Like Dak's going to be half as owned as Brady or Josh Allen, and he's cheaper, and he has the clear pass catchers. Like Amari is finally healthy, finally back to normal health for the first time really since week 1 with those ribs and COVID. And Lamb is who Lamb is. He's the best receiver on that team. He looks fantastic. And they're fairly priced. So that's where I'm probably going, but I like to take on risk. So when things don't happen, like if this is the game where Buffalo and Tampa Bay are not needed in the winning lineup, and oh, look at that, 25% of the field and 25% to 30% of the field, depending on the contest you're in, just lost because they didn't get the big games because Leonard Fournette got the touchdowns, or Josh Allen didn't get as many touchdowns against Tampa Bay, who's now going to go to a more man-heavy approach with Carlton Davis back and Jamel Dean trending to play and Bunting Murphy back, right? So I like to take advantage of chaos, and that's where I'll be going. That being said, Josh Allen, Brady, fine single entry QBs. Harder to get to a Mahomes in single entry, but yeah. Morning, Santa Sal says, my mother. My mother is in the chat. What's going on, Mom? How you doing? Nice kid, Sal. Thanks for content and making Sunday much better. I appreciate you, John. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Sal, Texas barbecue or Carolina barbecue? Schmack is with the info. Yeah, I like barbecue in general, but I never really had it in in North Carolina. I've had it in Texas, so I can't really compare too much. Would a 7,000 person field contest be considered small field? I would not play at a small field. 7,000 people is a lot of people to beat. For you to have to beat 6,999 people, I would not consider that small field personally. Good morning, Sal. How do you feel about Jameson Crowder? I think he's okay. I think in like my 150 max builds today, I think I got like 12-ish percent or 10% somewhere around there of Crowder. Yeah, I guess he's in consideration because of the price tag of $4,700 in single entries, but I'm not jumping up and down for it. Julio is a must start, especially in Chiefs stacks with Josh Jacobs as a run back. Yeah, none of that really correlates to me. Julio is not playing the Chiefs today, so there's nothing to do with his stacks there. So, yeah. Sal, what do you think about Kelsey today? Tough to get there. I have 1% Kelsey. I just don't see how Kelsey is a good play today. He's not going to be low owned. He'll be 10 to 12% owned. He's $7,400. It's really tough to want to get to Kelsey today, in my opinion. Lamb/Moore or Godwin and Amari? I'll go to Lamb and DJ Moore there. What do you think about Chuba, Zeke, and Gibson owned at? I mean, Gibson's going to be the highest owned player on the slate, I believe. Zeke will be middling ownership, 12-14%. Chuba will be about 2% owned. Sal, Jamar Chase looks great with San Francisco news, but are you concerned with Burrow's fractured pinky? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so if you're not familiar, Emmanuel Mosley is out. Their backup cornerback's out. So this San Francisco 49ers secondary stinks to begin with, and now like their top cornerback and Mosley is out, and their backups to their backups are out at this point. That being said, though, there's ways to limit that, like in terms of going a little bit more zone heavy instead of man-to-man. T. Higgins has been battling his own injuries with an ankle, expected to play. Joe Burrow is apparently throwing well in practice. So this would be the week now, right? 2 weeks after just being somewhat highly owned last week after letting people down who were on him as a sharp play. This would be the week for Jamar Chase to go off. The problem is in Jamar Chase's price range, I like CeeDee Lamb for a leverage play for not that much more, similar ownership. I like DK Metcalf, similar ownership for cheaper, right? So the leverage plays this week for me. Jamar Chase is okay, I guess, but the leverage plays I'd rather go to there are Lamb off of the leverage you're getting off of Godwin, and I'd rather go to Metcalf. What candle scent are you burning? Something to do with Christmas trees. Balsam and cedar. Balsam. Is this the week Lamar goes off? Low ownership on Andrews. I don't think he projects that well. No. Is Debo a must play in your season long leagues? Yes. Otherwise, definitely not. Any wide receivers under 4K? Thoughts on Palmer? Yeah, Palmer, I got about 10% of him 150s. Palmer's in consideration for single entry because he's $3,000 flat. I think he'll take over the Keenan Allen role. They're projected for a lot, and that team throws a lot. That being said, he's a rookie who doesn't have as much experience. But, yeah, $30,000, I think Palmer's in play in all formats today. I'm not expecting insanely high ownership on him anywhere. So Palmer definitely becomes in play in all formats. Other than that, below $4,000, there's actually a decent amount depending on what type of stack you're going with. Like Byron Pringle, really only in Kansas City stacks. You got guys like Laquan Treadwell down there and Brashad Perriman. These are like Millie Maker type plays. I got money left over. Gronk or Jacobs in the flex. I have Jacobs projected out for more. Thoughts on Shepard to get leverage in the run back for Hurt stacks? I got about 4% Sterling Shepard. He's not my favorite. What is Shepard's price? Is he 4,500 or 46? 4,500 is a price point that I land on sometimes. He's 46. Yeah, that 4K range of wide receiver is just pretty fucking bare. Like Crowder somewhat opened up. Like let's pull up the wide receivers. Like Crowder somewhat opened up. But if we pull up, let me filter this by salary here. So Crowder somewhat opened up, but like this 4K range of wide receiver, it's pretty fucking bare. Like you get Sanders if you're playing stacks at Buffalo. Crowder opens up as like the only guy he's a yes because he's in the 4K range. Shepard is in play, and then it's dead. It's literally a dead range. So this is like one of the worst 4K ranges we've seen all year. It might be the worst 4K range when Jameson Crowder is your best $4,000 wide receiver. Like everything right now is just hovering in that 6K range. Everything is like right here for these top plays. DJ Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Mike Williams, Amari Cooper. Brandon Ayuk looks worse now than he did 2 days ago with this Debo news. DK Metcalf has leverage. Mike Evans has leverage. Yeah, like this looks good. This looks good. This 6K range is unreal. Any love for Taysom at his price point? I love Taysom Hill today. I think Taysom Hill today, if you run him naked in the single entry, might be the best option. Yeah, Taysom Hill looks great. Taysom Hill is basically my third highest projected quarterback, and he's like the 15th in pricing. Yeah, Taysom Hill looks great today. I'm not playing Taysom Hill in the Millie Maker unless if I play him in single entry. So to cover my bases here, I'm not playing him as like a stack in the Millie Maker. If I play him in single entry, sometimes I throw that lineup into the Millie Maker for FOMO reasons, but I'm not actively trying to win the Millie Maker with Taysom Hill. That's more FOMO. If you see me knock down the Millie Maker today, knock on wood. with that. But I'm probably leaning between Taysom Hill and Dak stacks and single entry. I'm not positive yet. That being said, it's not that I hate Buffalo or Josh Allen and them. I have 20-something% Josh Allen, 10% Brady in my 150s. I like them. I'm just trying to get different somewhere. Like, if I want to play some of these chalky plays today, I want to play Antonio Gibson. He looks like the best play in the slate. He's going to be like 30% on, 40% on in some of the contests that I play in single entries, small fields. So if I want to do that, I can't also play the highly owned Buffalo or Tampa Bay stack or the insanely chalky Chargers stack today. Then in my opinion, that Chargers stack can be a little bit fluky, right? It could be a little bit fluky in terms of Keenan Allen helps a lot of that offense continue to keep the chains moving in the red zone, and he's not out there, so that can make that stall somewhat. But yeah, so Dak stacks or Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill looks great. Who's your favorite tight end punt play today? Probably like below $3,000. Probably Brevin Jordan. I know that Brock Wright or whatever his name is from the Lions. He had like 7 career catches at Notre Dame. I'm not too interested in that. So probably Brevin Jordan if you're looking for a full-on punt. Ty Johnson with both Jets running backs out. I think Austin Walter will definitely be involved to get him out there on the ground. Ty Johnson, though, he will be in play. Like these punt running backs, a lot of people are going to want to jump all over these punt running backs, and I'll put the pricing. Filtering by pricing helps me just sort by like the ranges a little bit more. But these punt running backs, a lot of people are going to want to play them because there's a lot of them today. And I think a couple of them are definitely in play. There's just a lot of murkiness around them. Like I think Jamar Jefferson or Jeff Wilson are probably the best punt running backs. Godwin Abukwuk, I mean, he's a former safety. He's not going to be in there for pass protection, in my opinion. Maybe he catches a couple passes. I'm not that interested at $4,000. But Jamar Jefferson and Jeff Wilson are definitely interesting. I mean, Jeff Wilson just had a 20 opportunity game a couple weeks back when there was no Elijah Mitchell. Now there's no Trey Sermon. Sure, Hasty is back and he might be involved more. Jeff Wilson only had 6 fantasy points in that game, but he had a wide open, like 2-yard passing touchdown overthrown by, like literally wide open if you've seen the clip. He's in the right side of the end zone, nobody around him. That would have been a 12-point game, and then people want to jump on him even more. So I think Jeff Wilson and Jefferson are the guys you would want to go to. That being said, Jefferson's an 8-point underdog with a 17 implied team total. He might not get the pass catching work with Godwin running a lot of the routes out there. And Jeff Wilson, Hasty's now back. Maybe it becomes more of a split. He's not that great of a running back. He has knee issues. So like these cheap running backs, that's another reason why Taysom Hill looks pretty nice to me. These cheap running backs, like I'd rather play Taysom Hill and get the extra $2,000 to go to Gibson, go to Saquon, go to Chuba Hubbard, go to James Robinson in that range, because these cheap running backs are no sure thing. None of them are going to be in a full-on backfield to themselves. They're all going to be in backfield by committees, and for the most part, they're all in shitty offenses. Ty Johnson, a 19 implied team total, right? Jamar Jefferson, 17 implied. So yeah. What do you think of the running back situation in Tennessee? Yeah, that Tennessee running back situation looks gross. Jeremy McNichols is back. I expect him to take his job back from Dontrell Hilliard, be a split there. I expect Deontay Foreman to get the most carries on the ground, but that might be like 10. So like 10 carries for Deontay Foreman, 6 for McNichols, and 4 for Hilliard doesn't feel great to me. Hasty or Wilson? Yeah, good question. I have no idea, Zane. We'll find out when the game starts. I'm projecting Wilson for more touches. I'm projecting Hasty for a higher target share. It projects them both out for like 10 fantasy points for me, but it's a big shrug emoji, right? Because last time that we saw this massive role for Wilson, you had Hasty dealing with injury. So we don't know if he's just going to get 19 carries again. So, yeah. I mean, the secure touches, like in a small field single entry, I think the play is Jeff Wilson. If you're playing like the Millie Maker, I think the play is Hasty because of what he can bring in the receiving department. That being said, though, like Hasty is no sure thing for any work today at all. But we don't really have this sample. We don't have this sample without Elijah Mitchell, without Sermon, and Hasty being healthy. Because when you saw in week 11, when Jeff Wilson saw his 19-carry game, 2-target game, he had a reception, he had 6.8 fantasy points. When you saw that game, JaMychal Hasty wasn't active. And now JaMychal Hasty is active. And JaMychal Hasty actually fits this scheme better than Jeff Wilson in terms of the outside zone running scheme because he can get to the outside a little bit more. Jeff Wilson is dealing with knee issues. Jeff Wilson ran a 4.62 40. Hasty fits the scheme a little bit better. So don't be shocked to see Hasty have 16 carries, Jeff Wilson 8 today. That's why I really don't want to be putting a lot of my money into these cheap running backs today. None of them look that good. What's up, Chase? We got Chase up in the chat. I'm running Hill, Kamara, skinny stack. Sounds good. I don't feel the need to stack Hill and Kamara because Hill mainly gets there from his rushing and really rushing touchdowns, and that's clearly directly taken away from Kamara. So I'm not really a big fan of the Hill-Kamara combo. I don't think you can't do it, but I'm not a big fan of it because they clearly cut into each other's upside. I think Hasty is moved today. Sure. What's your ownership on Javonte Williams? I have 8%. Personally, I have 8% Javonte Williams. Personally. Salad Gray, do you like DJ Moore or Mike Williams as a one-off? Depends on the rest of your lineup. Yeah, it really depends. If you're starting your lineup out with one of them, I mean, DJ Moore is going to be A third, probably half the ownership is Mike Williams. It depends on the rest of your lineup. What is your total lineup ownership? Because Mike Williams is going to be the highest owned wide receiver on the slate today at probably 22% owned, and DJ Moore is going to be 12% owned, and they'll probably both see 8 targets, so I'll take DJ Moore in a lot of situations. They both project out for 17 points. So yeah, I mean, I think DJ Moore is a better GPP play today than Mike Williams, yes. But it depends on your total lineup ownership. Agree on San Fran, tough call, but would hate to miss the usage. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really hating to miss the usage. I don't think either of them are good running backs. They have a fine matchup. I don't know. Like, I don't really see it as a FOMO to miss Jeff Wilson getting 16 carries or Hasty getting 16 carries. I get it that they're cheap running backs today, but I can kind of neutralize all that by playing Taysom Hill, who I feel a lot more secure about his role in his offense than Jeff Wilson and Hasty. And then that extra $2,000 from going to like a Josh Allen or a Brady to Taysom Hill gets me up to all the really good running back plays, and I don't have to worry about these cheap, terrible running backs. Because when all these cheap, terrible running backs all go for like 6 to 8 points, maybe one of them gets 12 points, like, what is their ceiling is the question here. Yeah, if one of them hits 25 points, they're going to win you the slate. I think that Jamar Jefferson has the most secure role out of any of these guys, right? Because he's literally battling Craig Reynolds, who played at Kutztown, a Division II school, which no upside there for Craig Reynolds. And he's battling a former college safety in Godwin Obukwu, who is definitely not going to be out there for passing down situations. They are not going to trust a former safety to pass protect. So I think Jamar Jefferson, if you're talking about who has the most secure role for 15-plus touches out of all these shitty running backs, I think it's Jefferson. Yeah. Sal Robinson or Sony Michel? Robinson. What's your exposure to Hunter Renfrow? Thanks, Sal. Yeah, I got a decent... It depends on the build that I'm looking at. I have a build if I just try and play only Taysom Hill today, which that's more so to see what lineups look like for my single entries. And then I have a build if I go with just normal 150 build. So my normal 150 build has Hunter Renfrow in 28% of my lineups. Rashad Penny at $4,800? That sounds awful. What should your total ownership for your lineup be around in GPPs? It depends on how risky you want to be. Depends on how many people are in your contest. 80 to 120 makes sense to me. Austin Hooper with Njoku out and Bryant out. He looks I mean, I got him projected for like every other tight end play in the slate. All these tight end plays on the slate today are like the same fucking thing for the most part. Like Gronk stands out. Ricky Seals, like it's really just Gronk standing out as a different play. And because of how cheap Jared Cook is, he stands out as somewhat different. But I have... Like Austin Hooper looks exactly the same to me. $3,400 Austin Hooper is projected out the same as Evan Ingram. Like in terms of 7 to 8 fantasy points is the projection basically that I have on Hooper, Ingram, Everett, Ricky Seals-Jones, Foster Moreau. Like all these dudes, right? I have Cook for like around 10, so he stands out as a play I'd rather get to. So I mean, you got Austin Hooper. He'll run 20 routes. It's a slow pace game. They're gonna run the ball. You have an injured Baker Mayfield. It's touchdown or bust for Hooper, just like it is any other tight end. So. No, there's like no excitement to play Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper and Evan Ingram look like the same play to me today. And so does Gerald Everett, and so does Ricky Seals-Jones. Jones, at least you can get as a run back in some stacks. Any Kareem Hunt love? No. Hubbard or Javonte Williams? I'll go Hubbard there. Do you still really like Javonte compared to the other guys in his range? Definitely not. I mean, with McKissick being out, Antonio Gibson's probably the best play in the slate. I prefer Saquon Barkley at similar ownership projections now to Javonte Williams. I think his role is way more secure. And I'll take Chuba Hubbard at 2% owned over Javonte Williams today. If you had to pick a punt wide receiver below 4K, who would it be? Probably Josh Palmer, just at $3,000 flat. Is there such a thing as getting different when building lineups? Yes, that's what leverage is, 100%. If you have access to projections and ownership, you will have a very good idea and a very good vision of how to just win the slate. Like George Kittle at 3% owned in a lot of contests last week was clearly the best play on the slate. We were saying it all week long. Why was he the best play on the slate? Because his leverage, he was coming in with like 6%, 8% projected ownership, only ended up being 3% in a lot of contests, and everything looked great for him. No other strong tight end plays in the slate. Everybody wanted to play the punt shitty tight ends that have no ceiling. Kittle obviously has a ceiling, and there was no Debo, and there was no Elijah Mitchell. And what happens? We get lucky with the extreme outcome, the top 1% outcome of 42 fantasy points, but we don't get lucky with the fact that he had an elite role. And there's players this week that have similar upside. So check out the projections and ownership if you want. And if you're not already familiar, I am running an offer. I have a daily fantasy course that has 10 hours of videos, a bunch of downloadables. It's $100 if you want to usually buy it, but it's free right now if you sign up with Prize Picks using the code CLASS, like you went to school, CLASS. So this says code SAL on the screen, but use the code CLASS. These are some of the props that I've taken. I've taken Zeke over 13.5 fantasy points, as I don't expect Pollard to play today. Even if they say he's active, I don't expect him to play with a fucking torn foot and did not practice all week. And I like Russ over passing yards, 223.5. I have him around 268. So that's probably my favorite prop right now. I've taken a couple others throughout the videos that you've seen throughout this week. That's probably my favorite prop right now. But if you use the code CLASS, you get a free bet up to $100. And also the lovely sponsors, Prize Picks. We're going to be talking next week about a potential longer-term deal. But also, not only that, you get a free entry into my NFL DFS course, 10 hours of game theory, how to actually think like a pro, how to actually stop making mistakes and just playing all the chalk that your favorite content creators are saying to. Think about leverage, think about building models and kind of all translated in layman terms. And even small things, small edges like the Monday to Thursday slates, how those are so damn profitable. So check it out. Use the code CLASS if you're interested. Even if you don't give a shit about prize picks, you could get the free course, right? $20 super chat from Kevin. I think we got a super chat earlier from Gerald. He said, thoughts on CJ Uzomah and Burrow stacks, large field GBP? Yeah, I think it's fine. He's in my groups for those stacks. Yeah. Kevin Davis, $20 super chat. Thank you. He says, buy yourself some brewskis on the bub. The buzz is fun. Would prefer Mike Williams on the bub. On me, bub. I love that. The buzz is fun. Would prefer Mike Williams or spend down for Cole Beasley. I mean, I prefer Mike Williams over Cole Beasley, but that's a $1,000 difference, right? So what else are you doing with your lineup? I would definitely prefer Mike Williams rather than leaving $1,000 to Cole Beasley. Nick Chubb, do you like him today? There's a couple of players today that I want to like. I want to like Nick Chubb. I want to like Hollywood Brown in terms of guys that won't have ownership, but they just don't project out well in that game environment. That game environment just sucks. So Nick Chubb, I don't want to get there. No. I get it. He's 7,600. He's going to be an afterthought, but I think also Zeke will be somewhat of an afterthought in that range. I think Mixon is going to be somewhat of an afterthought in that range, and I would just rather go there. What QB are you double stacking today? Yeah, QBs that you double stack are just the ones that are not mobile, right? So guys that I think you can double stack today. I mean, Mahomes, if you want to play Pringle and you can afford it. Really, all these guys you can double stack. It more so depends on the contest. If you're playing in a small field single entry, I'm not double stacking, but if you're playing the Millie Maker, you should probably double stack every lineup that's not a mobile quarterback. So Brady, definitely double stack. Herbert, definitely double stacking. Dak, I'm definitely double stacking. He's not running as much as you actually think. So if teams are going to get off a lot of plays and they're not mobile quarterbacks, you just want to double stack if it's a larger field tournament. Like Russell Wilson, I don't really want to double stack. They don't run a lot of plays out there. Naturally, just leads to me wanting to do more single stacks. Any trust for Jamar Jefferson or Deontay Foreman? No trust. No, I think that Jefferson's the better play. I think that Deontay Foreman's in a three-headed backfield for running backs, so that seems like not something I want to touch. I think that Jefferson probably has the clearest path to 15 touches, but he's also has the lowest team total of the week, and he's a 9-point underdog. So Jamar Jefferson's 15 carries for 53 yards today. I mean, if Jamar Jefferson doesn't, even if he scores a touchdown, he might not be needed. But if Jamar Jefferson doesn't score a touchdown today, he's probably pointless, right? He's probably pointless for you. Barkley or Williams today? Barkley over Javonte for me. So best flex plays under 4K today? Not many. I mean, obviously no running backs under there. If we're not counting tight ends, you're asking me about the best wide receivers under 4K. It's Josh Palmer at 3K flat. It's Pringle and Perriman in your specific stacks of Tampa Bay or the Bucks. If you're looking to punt, there's Laquan Treadwell down there, Deshaun Jackson. None of them look good. I'd rather just go all the way down to Palmer at 3K flat. Sal, when's the Ugly Sweater show? Cam Newton. I forgot about the Ugly Sweater. I mean, I guess we can do it next week because I will not have a show on the Sunday after Christmas because I'll probably do a TikTok show. So I can just do it from my phone and show you around, show you my family and all that stuff. But yeah. Yeah, lots of great leverage plays today. I mean, Tyreek Hill, not a lot of people are talking about it. It's lowering his ownership because people don't want to afford Mahomes stacks. It's making it a lot easier to get to Tyreek Hill at lower ownership. I'm prioritizing him. What do you think? What are you doing with the Lions running backs? I'm probably not playing them. If anything, I play just Jamar Jefferson. But yeah, I expect 15 carries for Jefferson. Expect 50 rushing yards. And if he doesn't get a touchdown, he's a bust, right? Appreciate your input on Chubb. No problem. Beasley over Crowder, right? I'll take Beasley over Crowder, yeah. Best overall play on the slate in single entry small field. I think the best play in the slate today is Gibson. He'll be owned, though. Some of the best plays for single entry today right now to me look like Gibson, Taysom Hill, Cowboys stacks, Tyreek. Those are some good plays. Sal, great. Which do you project out better in DFS tight end between Hooper and Jared Cook? Cook projects out better, Matt. Not anything crazy, though. All the tight ends look like the same fucking play this week. They all look like the same fucking play for the most part. So, tight end is not really a way you're going to get an edge this week. When the slate's over, maybe you get the Brevin Jordan touchdown and he scores 12 points at 2,500. But, going into this slate, there's, no real way to get an edge at tight end. You kind of just play him with your stack. If you're not playing a stack that has a good tight end or you're just running a quarterback naked, and just kind of put defense in last and put tight end in after that. The wide receivers this week, the 6K range on running backs is going to be so owned. Eckler up top will be so owned. So Mixon and Chubb and Zeke to an extent will give you some leverage there. Chuba will be leveraged in that mid-range. Ownership is going to come in on the bottom range, which actually now makes all the other running back plays in the slate lower owned than they should be. So that mid-range of the 6K range, a lot more people are going to play Jamar Jefferson and Austin Eckler now today. A lot more people, right? So naturally, there's going to be a little bit less ownership on Saquon. Maybe Saquon only comes in at 10% owned, right? But all of the spots where I really want to be chasing upside is wide receiver today. There's so many good wide receiver plays. Like last week, it was pretty clearly we have to prioritize George Kittle. Last week, we were saying it. You have to prioritize George Kittle. It's not even close. George Kittle is the number one leverage play in the slate. You have to prioritize him. And that worked out very well. It was a very, very prosperous week, not only for me, but for all the lovely people in the Patreon Discord. If you're not in the Discord, by the way, what are you doing? You got to get up in. You got to get up in there. Come join the community. Not only, you obviously get all the tools, but the Discord is the way to go. This week, though, it's not as clear-cut at the tight end position, but there's some really strong plays elsewhere. Like Tyreek Hill is a fantastic leverage play today. Looks really good. Not a lot of people want to afford him, and it makes him look really good. Because the guy who is the highest projected receiver with the highest ceiling on the slate and the second highest projected skill position player this week is going to be like 10% owned. That's a mistake. And then there's some other leverage plays here and there that look good. Maybe not elite. Like DK Metcalf looks like a good leverage play. Lamb looks like a solid leverage play. DJ Moore looks like a solid leverage play. Shots on Perriman this week, yeah, just like in the Millie Maker if you're stacking up Tampa Bay. That's about it. Gerald with the $2 super chat, he says, thoughts on Deontay Foreman and Hilliard? Yeah, I mean, Jeremy McNichols is back. So this Titans backfield is not just Deontay Foreman and Hilliard. Hilliard, who had like the long rushing touchdown before the bye, they both went for 100 yards. So people might want to play them. I think they're all terrible plays in Tennessee today. I know they're like 9-point favorites. Jeremy McNichols is back. He's the best running back in that backfield. Former third-round pick, I believe. So the best, actually, no, that's I'm thinking of Darrington Evans. I don't know what round pick McNichols was. But either way, the best running back in the backfield right now for the Titans is Jeremy McNichols. So I think he takes on the pass catching role. I think he sees 6 to 7 carries in his own right. So that's a 3-headed backfield in Tennessee today. I don't touch 3-headed backfields. 3-headed backfields that there's no clear RB1, I'm not touching them, right? I'm just not happening for me. Do you like to double stack of Dak with Lamb and Gallup? I'm not that high on Gallup today. He's pretty expensive for what his role is going to be. Lamb and Palmer or DJ and Jeff Wilson? Give me Lamb and Palmer. Guyton is a great play today. I don't think Guyton's that great of a play. I think he's an okay play in larger fields. I think Palmer's a better play. Palmer's cheaper. Palmer will have the better role today. I mean, nothing's going to change for Guyton. The normal Jalen Guyton that you see every single week is going to be what happens today. Nothing will change for Guyton. I don't think the target share changes all that much. Maybe a little bit. Like, Guyton's not this insane player. Guyton, for the most part, has not been that great. Like, he's a faster player, ran a 4.44 coming out, right? He runs a lot of routes out there, but for the most part, he doesn't command targets. Like, even in his really good game last week, 19 fantasy points, he only had 4 targets. He has not topped 4 targets since week 6 when he had 5, and he hasn't topped 5 targets on the entire season. I know Keenan Allen is out, but again, if you're somebody who has taken or you are interested in taking that daily fantasy sports course for free with the code CLASS on PrizePicks, we talk about it in there. People mess up all the time injured players and how that actually affects a team because they don't actually go in and project players, so they don't know how it actually matters. People want to jump all over Mike Williams and all over Guyton today because Keenan Allen is out. Yeah, Mike Williams looks like a better play, but his targets are going to go up by 1, maybe 2. His role is not going to change all that much. Jalen Guyton's role is not going to change that much. He's going to stay on the right side of the field and run fucking go routes the entire time, right? Whose role is going to change is Josh Palmer, who goes from running 8 routes to running 28 routes this week in the slot. A lot in the slot, right? So Jared Cook now, right? His role goes from playing inline a little bit more to playing now in the slot for 5, 6, 7 more snaps in the game and seeing an extra target or 2. So the target shares and the actual routes and usage is what changes from injuries. Mike Williams is not running more routes today. Neither is Guyton because there's no Keenan Allen. They're going to run the same amount of routes and see a very similar target share, right? So a lot of people are expecting Guyton to have this big game. He could still have it because he's going to run his normal routes out there, and his normal routes are about 22 to 24 routes, right? But I don't think that it's going to mean that Jalen Guyton now all of a sudden, who has failed to ever really command targets, is now going to start commanding 8 targets in the game. No. I think if anybody has the chance to, it's Palmer, who's a better receiver than Jalen Guyton, right? Jalen Guyton is an undrafted free agent. Palmer was actually drafted relatively high in the draft. And Palmer will get the better role for this offense, which is that slot role. $5 super chat from T. I appreciate that. He says, DJ Moore, Jeff Wilson, KC or Gibson. I don't know what KC means, my man. Landry and the Jets. I don't know. KC defense or the Jets? DJ Moore and Wilson. So you're asking me DJ Moore, Wilson, or Gibson or Landry? I don't like either of those. I'm going to be completely honest with you, my man. I'm not that high on Wilson or Landry. So I guess I'll just take the Gibson side. Top 2 game stacks to target. Thanks, Paisan, said Samuel. I like Dak. So the way that I'm viewing the slate is that it depends on the context you're playing in. In the Millie Maker, the Chiefs become a fantastic leverage play because of their ceiling. If Tyreek hits his ceiling, that's a fantastic way to go about it. My favorite quarterbacks options today for small field contests are Taysom Hill naked or Dak in the Cowboys for leverage. The really good stacks are still on the slate, though. Like, the Chargers are a really good stack. They're going to be the highest owned, so I kind of get away from that more. Buffalo and Tampa Bay, both sides of that look really good. They both do. They both look really good. They're both properly owned. There's no leverage either way on that. You can play them. It's fine. I think Dak will be low owned because of that, and I think Taysom Hill is a fantastic run naked quarterback today. So this is the week where there's not, like, you kind of just go with whatever stack you really like. There's not like a sure thing stack. There's so many stacks that can work out this week. I'm not really over the moon on any specific stack. If I'm looking for leverage, it's Dak. If I'm looking to run a quarterback naked in small field, it's Taysom Hill, and he's really fucking cheap, so I'm leaning to do that. But game stacks, I mean, obviously the game stacks, Buffalo and Tampa Bay, and then I think Dallas and Washington are the two best game stacks. Thanks for the response and the fresh info. This is the first time I've heard about Palmer. Thanks. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Palmer was a solid player in college. You might go back and you look at his stats from last year and you might say, oh, Josh Palmer didn't do anything in his last year of college. No, he had a terrible quarterback. Josh Palmer was still a good wide receiver. He had a brutal quarterback situation and coaching situation for most of his time in college. So when you go back and you see that Josh Palmer, he only had 475 yards last year. Yeah, but he commanded a 23% target share with one of the worst quarterback situations you can have at Tennessee last year. So you get 6'1", 210-pound Palmer who has some nice speed to him. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't think the Bengals will be heavily owned at all. Jamar Chase will have a 2-touchdown game today. Cooks, see it here first. Sounds good. What are your thoughts on Fournette? Fournette looks really good. He's going to be about 20% owned, so it's hard to have like a really strong stance on Fournette, but the guy just keeps catching 5 or 6 passes a game as teams go zone on them, and now they're facing a zone-heavy Buffalo defense. So, yeah, Fournette looks really good. Zeke without Pollard, or Pollard very unlikely to be a factor today with his foot. Zeke looks like a nice leverage. I mean, Zeke will be 10% owned to Fournette's 20 to 22% owned. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, Fournette looks really good. Like, Fournette and Antonio Gibson and Eckler are the good chalk today. Like, there's really good chalk today and there's bad chalk. Gibson, Fournette, and Eckler are fine chalk. Like, if you have them, I probably wouldn't want all three in my lineup because now you're just eating chalk everywhere. But there's no reason to try and pivot off of those guys if you really like them, right? I think there's some bad chalk on the slate. Those are not guys that are bad chalk. Think Debo will be limited. Looks to be popping in some projections. Yeah, I mean, I've been projected out decent. I'm not really getting there too much. Julio Jones, I like Julio today. Yeah, I like Julio a good amount as sort of like a one-off. I mean, he's the only option in the passing game for Tennessee with a nice team total against a terrible Jacksonville team. And, that's as simple as that. I like Julio Jones today. At home, yeah, I like Julio Jones today. Not much more to break down on the Julio Jones front. I just like that man. I like that man today. I like that man today. Thoughts on Sutton will be 1% owned. If you're looking for a Millie Maker 1% owned flyer, you can go to it. I'd rather play Julio Jones for the 1% owned guy. Julio probably comes up, though, today in ownership. Do you like Ty Johnson versus the Saints? Not really. No. Look, there's so many cheap, shitty running backs that I can't like them all, and I don't really like any of them. I think Jamar Jefferson has the most secure role out of any of the cheap, shitty running backs, and he's probably the most talented of all of them. Ty Johnson's pretty talented, too, but that Jets backfield, I don't really have much faith in him seeing 15 touches. So how do you like Austin Hooper today? I like him as much as about 7 other tight end plays on the slate. If you think he scores a touchdown, go for it. If you can get him in your stacks, even better. Who's your slate breaker today? I mean, I think the one guy who can absolutely destroy the slate today, there's a couple of guys, but the one guy who can absolutely destroy it is Tyreek Hill. And that's not shocking anybody, but Tyreek Hill is going to be about 10% on today because of his price tag. And yeah, Tyreek Hill a couple times a year drops 40 burgers. And oh yeah, he's going to have a lot of one high looks today against the Raiders. So yeah. My only worry with Julio is he fully healthy? Yeah, I don't think he would be coming back if he wasn't fully healthy. They've been really slowly getting him back. If you've been watching any of the press conferences or any of the press releases, the transcripts of their press reports, it's pretty obvious that they're waiting as long as they possibly can on Julio. Like, they're not rushing this dude back. If you watched any of the practice footage of him cutting really hard against defenders and all that, it looked fine. Obviously, it can get re-injured or flared up in the game. So, yeah. Debo or DJ Moore? I go DJ Moore. Isn't Julio like 10% owned right now? I have him projected for about 5% ownership. Amari Cooper to the moon, somebody says. Yeah, Amari looks good as well. The wide receiver position is loaded this week. There's so many strong and fairly priced wide receivers that aren't picking up ownership that I love it. Like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, Julio Jones. I love it. It's great. Go back to Foster after a mediocre week in a run back. If you want to run back Foster, that's fine. The tight ends this week, I am just putting them in as run backs in my lineups, or I'm just punting as cheap as I can get to fit into my lineup. Thoughts on Jared Cook? Yeah. If you're playing the Chargers, he's a great option. If not, he's great if you're just looking to punt tight ends. Cedric Wilson, ? Wide receiver 4 today, no interest. Thoughts on CEH? Not in my Tampa Bay stacks, or not in my Kansas City stacks. I'm not really getting too much. It's hard to really have a strong stance on $6,100 CEH when there's a full workload, a guy not splitting in a backfield in Saquon Barkley, not splitting in a backfield with Antonio Gibson, unlikely to really give up much of his carries in Chuba Hubbard, right? So not really there in CEH. Zeke fantasy points are up to 16 on Prize Picks, and that's a little too high for me. Would you take the over on 56.5 rushing yards? No, I wouldn't touch anything then. I have Zeke in the 18s in fantasy points. Sally, your optimizer keeps liking $4,500 Marvin Jones. Is he really worth using in GPPs? I'm not really that high on Marvin Jones, so if you don't like it, I would just drop the projection. Are you high on Saquon today? Yeah, I've got in 150s. I got about 40% Saquon. He's on a short list. If I maybe makes my single entry lineup, I'm not positive yet. Kind of depends on what I want to do with some of these secondary wide receiver spots in the lineup. But he is on a short list to potentially make that. Tight end's really difficult this week because if you play a naked Taysom Hill, you don't really have anywhere to go at tight end. I don't know if I want to punt tight end because the punt options this week are not great. Going back to the limited ceiling of James O'Shaughnessy doesn't feel great. Brevin Jordan at $2,500 just might end up being the play, right? But even him, he's only running like 15 routes out there. That doesn't feel great. You're lucky to see a 3-target game out of Brevin Jordan. So, yeah, the tight end position just really fucking sucks this week. Like, Ryan Griffin could be an interesting name for the Jets. He's questionable to play today. But he could be interesting because there's no Elijah Moore, there's no Corey Davis. But even then, you're looking at like a 3-target game. So tight end position really sucks this week. It's tough to find one that you like. Like you can pay up to get the secure thing out of Gronk. I was hoping Waller would get to the slate. If Waller was going to get to the slate at the tight end position today, we would actually be working with something. Here's the wide receiver, $6,700 and above. Why is nobody talking about Patterson? Yeah, I'm not talking about him either. I'm just not really interested. I don't think he's a leverage play today. He's going to be 8 to 10% owned. I think there's better leverage plays, and I don't think he has that high of a ceiling. Who are you prioritizing stacking Dak with? Lamb and Amari. Amari or Julio today? Amari for me. 100% Rodgers on the main slate. Aaron Rodgers I would play 100% of on the 11-game main slate, yes. How high are you on Crowder? He's projected for around 12 points. Doesn't have that high of a ceiling. He's just a meh play. James Robinson love. Lower owned. I'd rather have Chuba Hubbard for the lower owned play. Do you like Robinson for Jacksonville? Yeah, I'd rather have Chuba Hubbard. They've been slow. They've been trying to limit Robinson so much. He is the only guy in that game environment though that I would like. I like him. Obviously the best guy from Jacksonville in my opinion. In my opinion, DJ Moore is interesting because he's so fucking cheap today. But that matchup against AJ Terrell is actually pretty terrifying. Played him earlier in the year. I mean, he had a terrible Sam Darnold. Only had 4 catches, 59 yards. But $6,200 DJ Moore is not picking up any. He's picking up ownership, but not as much love as he probably should. He looks fucking good today too. I'm really interested to see what Julio looks like out there on the field today. This is a fun slate. This is a really fun slate. Gronk or Kittle? I'll go Gronk for sure. Can you scroll down on the wide receivers? Yes, we'll scroll down to the next level of wide receivers. Feelings on Mike Evans compared to Godwin this week? I know Godwin has been dominated, but he has Tagula for Tad. Yeah, I mean, Mike Evans will be half the ownership as Godwin, which, depending on your total lineup ownership, I'll probably prefer Godwin. Or I'll probably prefer Evans, but Godwin is the more optimal play if you're just starting your lineup with one player. Any opinion on James O'Shaughnessy? I think he has a really limited ceiling. 4 catches, 30, 40 yards seems like the upside if he doesn't score a touchdown. So, yeah, I mean, if you're looking to punt. Is Eckler really worth the spend up? Yeah, I mean, he's got like a 30% chance of being in the winning lineup, and he's projects out really fucking good with no Keenan Allen, so he's definitely a play. Any interest in stacking Taysom or Kamara? Not really for me, no. Not really for me. Who else do you play with Hill? Thanks. I'd rather just play Taysom Hill naked. I'd rather play him without a stack. What's a good play to pair with Russ since Zeke's fantasy changed? Oh, you're talking about on Prize Picks? Yeah, I haven't taken any props today. It's been the girlfriend's birthday. We've been chilling out. I got up about 4 a.m. today to get stuff done early so I can hang out with the girlfriend for the birthday. So I haven't taken as many props as I normally do, just the social life. I have other props. These would be other prop options. DK and DJ Moore over receiving yards. I prefer DKs. Sal Metcalf, CEH, or Cooks in my season long. Give me Metcalf. Patterson versus Chubb. I'll take Chubb. Thoughts on Edwards Hilaire? I'm not really there. I used the code and didn't get the class. Yeah, I haven't sent it to anybody yet, Corey. It's the weekend. I'll be doing it starting on tomorrow. Prize Picks has not yet sent me the email for all the people that have signed up for the list. I'll be doing that starting on Monday. So just give it some time, my man. You'll get it. Any $4,500 or undervalued besides Guyton? I think that Guyton's teammate Palmer is even a better value than him. And there's just a bunch of one-off plays that are burners on the outside and in stacks if you wanted to go to some of them, but none of them look great. Do you like Jacobs, Tyreek, mini stack? I'd rather just play Tyreek as a one-off. I don't think you have to force Jacobs in there. I'd rather play Tyreek as a one-off. There's like playing Tyreek as a one-off. There's nothing on the Raiders that's a quick strike player. Like Hunter Renfro's not a quick strike deep player. I guess it's Deshaun Jackson, but I'm not putting significant money behind Deshaun Jackson. So Tyreek Hill does not need another player to push the pace. Like the Chiefs, if anything, want to continue to throw the ball and dominate people if they actually have some success doing it today and just put it on. So that's where Tyreek Hill comes in. Tyreek Hill is definitely a priority today. Oh my God, I'm a motherfucking legend. Why is Higgins a maybe for you? He's been dealing with an ankle injury all week long. His price point is coming up, and his ownership is coming up. So 12% on T. Higgins with his price point coming up and an ankle injury is not something that is a slam dunk yes. Not at all, in my opinion. Tyreek and Brevin Jordan or Godwin and Hooper. I'll take Tyreek and Brevin. Yeah. Jonathan donates $2. He says, PPR start 2. Jeff Wilson, Crowder, Cooks, and Gallup. I'll take Cooks and Gallup. Kevin, $5 super chat. He says, I'm going back and forth between Jarvis and Julio. Who do you think? I'll take Julio for half the ownership and more downfield upside and a quarterback that actually has a fucking healthy thrower shoulder. Baker Mayfield is playing with a separated shoulder. I'll definitely go to somebody else there. How do you rank Diggs, Hill, and Godwin? Hill, Godwin, Diggs in that order. Pollard is fully out. Great. I'm projecting Pollard out today, yes. Is it crazy to have Brevin Jordan in single entry? I mean, you're just assuming that you can get a 0. Like, if you play Brevin Jordan in single entry, just assume that going out there that Brevin Jordan can have a legitimate 0 for you, and you have to be okay with that. Like, Brevin Jordan had some success with Tyrod Taylor the last 2 games. Tyrod Taylor was targeting him 3 times, and a couple of times in that last game before Tyrod got hurt. So just keep in mind that, yeah, I mean, Brevin Jordan is no sure thing. I would be pumped. He's $2,500. He's the best $2,500 player, Brevin Jordan. I would be pumped. The rookie out of Miami, I believe. I'd be pumped to play Brevin Jordan today if we saw more usage out of him. But they're still using fucking Pharaoh Brown out there. Like, Brevin Jordan's routes run the last 3 games, 9, 15, and 12. Like, that's just not getting it done all that much, right? If Brevin Jordan doesn't score a touchdown today and there's not some crazy increase in his role, like his routes run went down from week 12 to week 13. That's not great. Snaps went down from 60% in week 12 against the Jets. That's a great number, 60%, to 42%. That's not great. So, like, the problem with Brevin Jordan is he's 2,500. He's going to run fucking 14 routes today, and you just have to assume that he can get you 0 points, and you're only playing him for the punt. Because there's other guys like Ryan Griffin who will run 15 routes. There's James O'Shaughnessy out there for not that much more at 2,900. James O'Shaughnessy's running at least 20 routes in that last game in a bad game. So you're playing Brevin Jordan for the touchdown or bust. He's $2,500. I don't think it's terrible, but it is borderline crazy for single entry, but it kind of depends on what else you're trying to do in that lineup. I'm not totally against it, though, if you get other studs in the lineup. I have considered it. Jacobs or Chuba? I'll take Chuba. No question. Just appreciate you for doing this each week. ROI has been solid this year since I began watching your streams. I appreciate that, Kiz. So, Kiz, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you a ton. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Over under the field on Mike Williams this week. In 150s, I'll be over the field, but I'm not playing Mike Williams in single entry. So in 150s, where I can actually leverage the field with more lineups, I will play Mike Williams, but in single entry, I don't think he's a good play. He's going to be highly owned. Why is Jacobs not a yes? Just like other guys in his range around him. Josh Jacobs is not a yes because he's a fucking 10-point underdog today. He's a 10-point underdog today. Jalen Richard is also back, by the way. Jalen Richard is back, and I expect him to take on some pass-catching work. So Jalen Richard is back. He's a 10-point underdog today. He has a 19.5 implied team total, and he's in a range where there's just way better options. There's way better talented players like Saquon, Antonio Gibson, and guys who have better roles like those guys and some others. So that is why. That is part of the reason why, at least. If you are psycho enough to play Jamar Chase over Godwin today, like I might be, oh boy. I just might be that dude today who plays Jamar Chase over Godwin. Oh boy. Oh boy, I tell you what. I tell you what, sir. What do we got here? I wish Mike Evans was like $100 less. What is he, 6,600? Wish he was like 64. Make a lot of optimal lineups, at least that I'm looking at, work out. Sal, no one is talking about Alex Collins. Can he break the slate today? Definitely not. He stinks. I don't want him. How much more do you like Elliott now? I mean, I've been projecting Pollard out since yesterday, so I mean, yeah, Elliott looks good. He looks like a leverage play off of Fournette. I prefer Fournette if you're starting out your lineup, but it'll be half as owned as Fournette. Elliott is still dealing with a knee bruise. I prefer the Cowboys stacks over Elliott, but yeah, Elliott is now a leverage play. Elliott is a yes for me. I have 20% Elliott or so. Cameron Taysom for me. Thoughts on Abdullah over Hubbard if I'm starting Newton? I prefer, if you're starting Hubbard instead of Hill in the Millie Maker, I'm not stacking Cam Newton with his running back, so definitely not playing a running back with Cam Newton if you're starting Newton, so don't play either of them. I like Hubbard more than Abdullah today. Any interest in Heineke and Washington stacks? Personally, no. Would you play Palmer in single entry? I think he's in play in single entry. You're really giving up a massive ceiling on some other really good wide receiver plays. Like you're kind of burning a spot in your lineup. I'd rather punt quarterback or tight end, but I think he's in play in single entry. I think that he runs 20 routes, 25 routes today. Yeah. Every time these videos end, YouTube starts playing Vetri Media videos. It's a channel from Iran or something. What the fuck? That's weird. Godwin or Evans? Yeah, you need more information there. If it's cash, Godwin. If you're different in other spots, Godwin is the play. If you're different somewhere else in your lineup, if you're playing all the chalk and you need your total lineup ownership to go below that 120 number, that's that around 100 total lineup ownership, I'd play Evans. But Godwin is gonna have the way better role today in the slot. DK or Mike Evans, one off. I'll take DK. Collins, he stinks. Yeah, he does. Why are we ignoring the only tight end for the Browns, Austin Hooper? Because he's playing with Baker Mayfield, who has a separated shoulder. None of the Browns tight ends all season have really done anything. He's also not that great himself. It's a slow-paced game. He looks like every other tight end. He projects for like 8.5 fantasy points. Austin Hooper projects for 3 catches for 30 yards and like a 30% chance of a touchdown. So it's like every other tight end. What are your top quarterback plays? My favorite quarterback plays are right here, sir. Taysom Hill becomes a play in single entry, not so much large fields for me. Let's on Rashad Penny or Alex Collins. No interest in those dudes. No interest in those dudes. The Seattle backfield is not something I want to target. I don't want to target these 2 to 3 headed backfields, right? Thoughts on Kelsey this week? Really hard to get there, in my opinion. He's just really fucking expensive. If the 1,100 people in here, we're 20 subscribers away from 45,000. If you're not subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button. And if you're not already familiar with the stuff that I've been promoting over the last 2 or 3 days, starting January 1st, the Golf Betting Network, we're up to 321 subscribers. Let's see if we can get this to 500 by the end of this video, maybe. But the Golf Betting Network, if you're interested in that, I'll be starting content over there, building up a separate network. It's owned fully by me, potentially getting collaborations and some interviews going as time goes on. But golf starts back up, right? It's on hiatus right now. It starts back up the first week of January, and I will be covering golf, DFS, and betting starting January 1st on this network. So it won't be on this channel. No more golf going out on this channel. It's going to have its own specific dedicated network, so it ranks better, does all that stuff. Stick to golf over there. I'll probably cover NBA on this channel once football ends for the last time ever. This will be my last year covering NBA. We'll have tools on Patreon, but last year on YouTube. And I'm going to be focusing mainly on football stuff and golf stuff. So, yeah, check that out. Any Kamara in large fields or single entry style, please and thank you. I'm not going to get to him in single entries. In large fields, yes. Any Josh Reynolds with no Hawkinson? No. Can we rule out Kareem Hunt then? I don't have any. Jackson, actually I have like 1% Kareem Hunt. Mike Evans versus Jamar Chase. I'll take Evans because of the price tag. It seems a little bit easier to actually get to him. A little bit easier to get to him in my opinion. Hey, we hit 45,000 subscribers. Let's go. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. That's awesome. Cool number. You think we can get to 500? 500 is a really high number on the golf channel. Not that many people like golf. But if you are interested, we're up to 326. Yo. Jackson or Hardman today? Deshaun Jackson for me. Who to stack with Allen, Sanders, or Beasley? Who to stack with Josh Allen, Sanders, or Beasley? I'll go Beasley. Pringle over Hardman. Yes, Pringle over Hardman. Favorite receiver under 5K today? It's probably Crowder or Josh Palmer. It's probably Crowder or Josh Palmer in my opinion. Crowder or Josh Palmer in my opinion. Just subscribe, bro. I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate you. Russ, worth a shot on Superdraft? Yes. Sal, thanks for all you do, your content. I've cashed a lot because of you. Matthew Zeman, I appreciate you a ton. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. Can we get the running backs page, please? Yes, we can start at the running backs page up top. There you go. Cooper or Lamb today? It depends on like what you're doing with your lineup. Lamb is obviously a lot more expensive. I prefer Lamb today, but if you have the extra $1,200 to get better somewhere else, it could be Cooper. It really depends on your lineup. Like it's a this or that situation. When they're a $1,300 difference, you have to give me a second player that you're deciding on. Why no Kareem Hunt? He's in a low total game, a slow-paced game. He's going to see 10 touches today, and he's priced for it. So, I mean, I just see the lack of an upside there. Julio Jones or DJ Moore? DJ Moore, but he's also $800 more expensive, but DJ Moore over Julio Jones, in my opinion. Julio or Ayuk, large field? My answer would have been Ayuk, but now with Deebo Samuel expected to play, it's going to be Julio. Palmer or Pringle? Palmer. Palmer for me. The community prop, if you're just getting in here, is going to be a couple of them, but Zeke over 13.5 fantasy points and Russ over 223.5 passing yards. If you use the code CLASS, not only do you get a free bet up to $100, CLASS as in like school, C-A or C-L-A-S-S, you get a free $100 bet up to $100. But you also get my daily fantasy sports course, 10 hours of videos, how to actually start thinking like a pro, game theory, analytics, the things that actually matter, stop using your emotions, all the things that actually matter, 10 hours of videos and some downloadables. It's a DFS course that is a $100 course, but I'm going to give it in for free only for the next couple of days. It's a holiday special that I'm running with them. PrizePicks has been gracious enough to actually subsidize that course for any people who sign up with the code. So if you're thinking about getting this in like 2 weeks for Christmas, it's not going to be available. So it's going to be available for maybe even today is the last day. It's really until PrizePicks tells me that we're done, until too many people signed up. So be sure to get in there and use that code CLASS. Can you explain single entry plays versus multi-entry? Yeah, single entry plays, everybody only gets one lineup, right? Single entry. So you can't play 150 lineups. So everybody has to really focus on one specific lineup, which means people are taking less risks overall, which means you have to take less risks. And really, I'm trying to talk about small field single entry. So small field says you're only playing against 500 people, so you have to take less risks. You don't have to play Jamar Jefferson in a small field single entry because he stinks and he's a risk and you don't have to take that risk. So there's better leverage plays. I prefer to get the leverage plays of Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, good leverage plays, good players, Saquon Barkley, right? Maybe Joe Mixon, like these leverage plays who are actually good plays. I prefer to leverage them. So that is the difference. Good question, my man, Chef. Chef Sid in the house. Chef Sid's up in the house. Partying like a motherfucking rock star today with Chef Sid up in the house. Party like a rock. Party like a rock star. It's a totally dude. Would you take Patterson or Hubbard in single entry? I'd go Hubbard. Sal, you ever grow out your facial hair? I shave it every morning. It'll grow out basically in a day if I don't shave it. In about 5 days, I'd have a full-on beard and mustache. I just don't like facial hair. I don't mind it. I like it. I like how it looks, and I like how it looks on other people, but it's so itchy on my face. I have really sensitive skin, so it makes me break out a lot more. Good to know. Thanks for the info. Appreciate it. No problem. Bacon, eggs, biscuits, and gravy. Hell yes. Ooh, nice. Sounds lovely. Renfro or Julio? Any defenses you're prioritizing? No. I just fit whichever one fits. Hey, Sal, Slaz gets fits. Appreciate you, my man. Can you talk about the leverage more? Really enjoyed your discussion around playing the right lineups for the contest entered. Yeah, David, what's going on, boss man? So I appreciate Laz is up in here. He had a nice week last week. I appreciate you. A nice super chat last week. I appreciate that as well. Yeah, I think there's some really good leverage plays today. I think so like people mistake this. They think leverage plays have to be low owned. Some guy on Twitter was like, oh, so leverage plays are just the low owned plays. No. High owned plays could be leverage plays today. It depends on what their odds of making a winning lineup are versus their odds of being in the optimal lineup. So I think that leverage plays today, like Austin Eckler and Antonio Gibson are going to be high owned. They're still good plays. They might not be leverages. They might come in small leverage. It might be something like that. But they're still going to be really good plays today. So, like, they're going to be some top optimal plays. I think Taysom Hill is going to be a leverage play in a lot of contests today because people won't run him naked and they'll go to some of these higher owned game environment stacks, but he's cheap and he looks good. My favorite play, like last week, I think that paying up for Kittle at tight end made you different. I think that Tyreek Hill paying up for Tyreek makes you different this week. There's no Keenan Allen. Diggs is there at 8,100 in a better, easier game environment. And then you're all the way down to the bottom of the 7K range. So I really like getting to Tyreek Hill at 8,500 and prioritizing him. Obviously, if Tyreek Hill goes for 18 points, like 18 points is fine, but it's probably not winning you a slate. He's not the reason at least. But I'm prioritizing the 10% on Tyreek Hill because position eligibility. If you play him, you're probably naturally leveraging off of Austin Eckler and the other game environment stacks. And the fact that he has the highest ceiling on the slate and he's my highest projected wide receiver also helps a lot there. So I think that Tyreek is a really nice leverage play today at the wide receiver position. He's probably the best pay-up leverage play on the slate today. Like last week, that was clearly Kittle. But I think he's a better leverage play than Eckler at running back. Some of these other pay-up receivers, I think he's a better leverage play definitely than Godwin. Godwin will be really owned. So, yeah. And then, like, some mid-range options, I put it on Twitter. I think DK Metcalf continues to look like a leverage play. I think DJ Moore is was looking like a leverage play. Now he's picking up ownership. Mike Evans is a leverage play for sure, especially off his own team. I shave every morning, too. Can't stand that shit. Yeah, I don't mind it. My skin's just too sensitive. Any thoughts on Hubbard for the Titans? Hilliard for the Titans. He's in a 3-headed backfield with McNichols returning. I'm not interested. Sal, I love that hat. You rock. I appreciate you. Any love for Julio? Yes, I like Julio a good amount this week. I think that Julio does. The question is, what does the ceiling look like? But I think that Julio looks like a solid play this week for sure. I like Julio a good amount. I like Mr. Julio Jones a good amount today. Good people out there in the streets. Party like a rock. Party like a rock star. The question for me starts to become, do I go with a Julio and like a Godwin or go ultimate leverage with like the Mike Evans and Amari, right? Who knows? Lots of cool ways to build some lineups today. Lots of high upside ways to build some lineups today. Like good players as leverage plays is great. Is it okay to drop a flyer like Palmer in the Sunday for entry to get up to another stud? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Why is nobody talking about Mike Williams as a stud today? I don't know if James Cook is I don't know if James Cook is just I can't tell if James Cook is just trying to be a troll or not. Like, Mike Williams is going to be the highest owned receiver on the slate. Nobody's talking about him because he looks like a good play, but I think Mike Williams is over-owned. I'd rather go to Amari Cooper for half the ownership. I have a lot of Mike Williams in my GPPs 150s because I can leverage the field there. But if you're talking about building one lineup today, I don't want to play Chargers. Like Eckler and Jared Cook. But I really don't want to be playing those Herbert stacks, and Mike Williams is going over-owned. Keenan Allen being out does not insanely help Mike Williams. It should not make Mike Williams the highest owned wide receiver on the slate. That's a mistake, and people are going to do that. Mike Williams' role is not changing with Keenan Allen out. He's still going to run 30 routes. He's still going to see his normal 7 targets in the game. Maybe he sees an 8th, right? The guy whose roles who are going to change is pretty clearly Josh Palmer. He's going to go from running 10 routes to running 24 routes, right? He's going to go from seeing 1 target to seeing 6 targets, right? Taysom Hill projected ownership about 10% for me. Joe Mixon flu game. Yeah, he is sick, right? Sal, you on Taysom Hill bandwagon today? I like Taysom Hill in single entries. I like Taysom Hill in small field contests. Anything that's larger field, I think you have to go. I think you have to start to go towards some correlation plays like Dak stacks for leverage. The Tampa Bay game environment's great, obviously, but I'm going to be staying away from it for the most part. Is Brock Wright a viable punt tight end today? I'd rather go to Brevin Jordan. Brock Wright caught 7 passes in college. Brock Wright has Jared Goff throwing to him in the Detroit Lions offense. I'd rather go to Brevin Jordan. It's not that much better for Brevin Jordan, but he's actually an athlete from Miami. He has fucking Davis Mills throwing to him in the Texans offense. These punt tight ends suck this week. Allen out hurts Williams more than it helps him. I just don't really think there's much of a change. I don't think it hurts him, but I just don't think there's much of a change. I don't think there's much of a change for him. Sal Swami, do you think is a great cash player core to work with? No, I don't really think too much about like core plays and things like that. No. I mean, I think Antonio Gibson, if you're playing cash, you probably have to have him, but yeah, I'm not the guy to ask too much about cash. I'm not that interested in cash. I do not have fun playing cash. I do not play cash. I'm probably not the best person to ask about your cash games. Appreciate you, Sal. Good luck today. Good luck to you as well today. Good luck to you as well. Yo, Sal, Survivor League, Titans or Chargers? Thanks. Yeah, I won my only Survivor League this year. I won it like 3 weeks ago, so I haven't been paying attention much to any of that. I'll go with the Chargers, though, if you're choosing between those two. How about the UFC fight? Last night fell asleep. Yeah, I went to bed before the last 3 fights, but I saw the highlights today. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Denzel Mims, let's go. Oh, baby. 2nd year out of Baylor. Denzel Mims, he's going back to him. He's going back to the well of the Denzel Mims love. We love to see it. We love to see it. The Denzel Mims love in full effect today. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, buddy boy. Cooper and Hill or Lamb and Chase in my DAX stack? I'll go Cooper and Hill. Thoughts on DJ Moore today? I like DJ Moore. The matchup against AJ Terrell is scary, but I like DJ Moore. He's 6,200. He'll be picking up ownership, though, so I'd rather play a lower-owned Amari Cooper or a lower-owned Mike Evans or a lower-owned DK Metcalf. Sal, you're still the Swami. Thanks. Gibson or Barkley? Gibson for me. Both look good. OBJ or Ayuk for PPR fantasy? I'll go with OBJ. OBJ for me for sure. Nunez cost me a bink. Yeah, I'm not too sure why Nunez tapped that quick, but who knows? Maybe she panicked. Maybe she was mentally in a spot where she didn't think she was going to be in that fight, but she tapped really quick. Like the choke wasn't even in yet. Yeah, the choke wasn't even in yet. Cooks or Crowder PPR? Give me Cooks. Yeah, give me Cooks there for sure. Philip Lindsay, ? No. Best wide receiver under 6K today. Under 6K today, there's a good amount that I like. I mean, I like Amari. Wide receivers under 6K. I like Amari. I like Cole Beasley. Crowder's just missing that, or Renfro's just missing that 6K mark. So, yeah. I would say favorite ones under 6K is probably Amari. He's probably my favorite one. Julio's in there as like a leverage play. But yeah, probably Amari. What else we got? Best flex play, anybody but Eckler. Tyreek. Knox or Pitts PPR? Give me Pitts if it's just a season-long league. Lamar or Staff PPR? Hill, Lamar, or Staff PPR? I'll go with Lamar Jackson for PPR. Wait, for PPR, what are you talking about? But PPR league doesn't matter. Those 3 quarterbacks, I'll go with Lamar. Evans or Godwin in season long? Evans or Godwin in season long today? I will be going with, in season long, give me Godwin. Best wide receiver under 6K range today. Yeah, under 6K range, I'll go with Amari. No one seems to be talking about Chase, but seems like a great leverage play. Any thoughts? Yeah, I don't know. Chase is fine. I just prefer other leverage plays. Like I prefer DK Metcalf as another leverage play. He actually has Russ with a healthy finger, whereas Joe Burrow's finger is not healthy. Chase is fine. If you prefer Chase as your leverage, that's good. I prefer Lamb. I prefer Metcalf. I prefer Mike Williams as my leverage plays personally. Any interest in card today? I'm not going to be getting there. No, I'd rather just go down to Taysom Hill. Jeff Wilson on the showdown is $200. That is definitely a good play. Yes. Jamar or Mike Williams today? I'll go Mike Williams. Javonte, or is it trying to be? Yeah, I can't go to Javonte now with this Antonio Gibson news with McKissick out. I just can't go there. OBJ or Gage? OBJ. DJ Moore still in play? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's still in play. He's still in play. Alrighty, gang. We got over 1,100 people in here. 1,150. We got to 45,000 subscribers. I appreciate you all a ton. If you don't already know, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Tomorrow morning, we'll have the Monday Night Football content. That'll all be out. Any questions, be sure to ask me them in the Discord after this stream. If you're not already a Patreon member, I mean, the Discord alone is probably the biggest reason to join Patreon, or one of the big reasons, because you get a nice community. I mean, having a community of people you can actually reach out to, trust, talk about DFS, talk about some cool stuff with. I don't have many people in my real life that play DFS, really, like nobody. Maybe like a lineup or two a week, but like seriously. So it's fun. So come on in. I'm in there. We chat. We have a bunch of different channels, not just NFL, but props, NBA, MLB, all this other stuff, MMA, PGA. And yeah, so check it out. Obviously, you get the projections, rankings, optimizer, ownership, all that other stuff that we have as well. Player props tool coming soon. So be sure to get all that. The hat is fire. I appreciate that. Getting in the Christmas spirit, of course, my man, of course. Can you show your QBs? I cannot show my TDs, but I can show my QBs, yes. I'm getting too much Jeff Wilson. Scary time for you. Gibson or Barkley, DK single entry? I'll take Gibson. Elliott or Jacobs? Elliott. Michelle's season is over. Have a great day celebrating, says my mother. Oh, yes. I appreciate you, Mama. My mama is in here the whole time. We appreciate it. Sal, what do you think of Josh Reynolds on the Lions? Guys, 4,100 is going to be highly targeted. I don't think he's going to be highly targeted. No, I don't think he's going to be highly targeted. So, no thank you there. I definitely don't think he's going to be highly targeted. Do you think Newton bounces back today? Yeah, I have him projected out pretty nicely. Sutton or Sanders half-point PPR today? I'll go with Sutton. I'll take the really low-owned Sutton. Ty Johnson. I'll go Ty Johnson over Godwin and Bukawook. Alrighty, gang. I appreciate you. Any other questions, let me know. Get a super chat in if you want to make sure your question is definitely answered. Otherwise, I appreciate you tuning in today. We hit our goal, 45,000 subscribers. If you're not already over on the Golf Betting Network, if you're interested in golf and at all, betting, DFS, it's a ton of fun. It's an awesome sport to be betting on. You can get over on the Golf Betting Network. The link is right now if you want to subscribe there to be the first in the know of when the content is dropping. Sal, is Rex Burkhead and play with David Johnson out? Nah, not really for me. Sal, my man, James Conner or James Robinson in your year long? James Conner for me. Thoughts on Mike Davis as a run back? Not interested. Russell Gage or Julio? Give me Julio. Props. Yeah, I have Russell Wilson's over. I have Ezekiel Elliott's over points. I have DK Metcalf and DJ Moore's over receiving yards. I'll probably take some more props maybe momentarily, but girlfriend's birthday, been doing some other stuff this weekend, so haven't as much time to grind the props opposed to DFS. Most of my action is in DFS today. Well, it normally is, but even more. Alrighty, gang. I appreciate you all tuning in today. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you all the time. So, last week, it was the George Kittle, the best play on the slate. He got you different at tight end. No, the real stud tight ends plays. This week, there's a lot of great leverage plays. A lot. So many of them at the wide receiver position. So many elite talents. DK Metcalf, Tyreek Hill. You have these lovely, lovely plays, right? So this week, we're looking at the leverage plays. It's Tyreek Hill. It's DK Metcalf. These supreme athletes who are fantastic. Last week it was George Kittle, and this week it's these solid plays. So, when you win the dollar riskies today and you're playing Tyreek Hill and he has his 40 burger, he gets his 40 burger for you for lunch today, right? And you get your lunch for free because, the money's flowing. The money's flowing, right? It's a great time. You even get a pedicure. That's how good it's flowing. You get your nails shined as a male or a female out there, right? But as a male, you get your nails shined, your cuticles get, scrub your feet. What a lovely time. It's like, holy shit, the seventh wonder of the world. So, when they ask you, where'd you get those dollar riskies from? You say, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, and they'll say, no, I don't know who those people are. You'll say, well, I do because I know football, and football knows me. So there you go. The money's flowing today. It's week 14. We're about to hit these playoffs. Your season-long leagues are ending. You're going to get in. You're going to smash some competition. It's about the mindset. Say it out loud, right? Say it out loud. You're going to win today. Hope you have a lovely day. Hope you have a lovely day today. From Santa Sal to all of you, best of luck. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, gang.